You guys better lock in and buckle up, bucko, because you're in for another creepy and scary TikTok reaction video. You want to be careful. Mysterious videos from TikTok and disturbing theories, because they might just change your reality and keep you up all night. And remember, this video is strictly for entertainment purposes only. It's up to us to distinguish fact from fiction and do our own research on everything. Keep your head on the straight swivel. If you haven't already, please smash that like and subscribe button if you're new around here, and let's dive into today's dark waters.
This hollow earth and inner earth topic is starting to gain momentum. It's not just a whisper anymore, but a reality. The hole that Admiral Byrd flew into over the North Pole, this is it. It's quickly becoming a thing. It's real. And the Russians' release of the Mir space station and the footage that it gathered, it's mind-blowing. In addition to this footage, Russia even stated the sole purpose of the Mir space station was to monitor the hole over the North Pole. And the pictures on top are from a 1903 expedition into the hollow earth from the photographer that went and never came back. Yet his album was found nearly 2,000 feet below the surface. Mammoth Caves, Kentucky. This hollow earth and inner earth topic is starting to gain momentum.
So you mean to tell me that they actually flew inside that, and this is the entrance into hollow earth, aka Argatha? This is how they're able to get into there. And did you hear what he said? He said the Russian Space Center, or the Space Center, was originally built to keep tabs over this pole. We're diving into this today, so you better lock in and buckle up, bucko.
The Garden of Eden, which is spoken about in the Bible, is on the earth right now. It also accompanies the largest mountain in the world, which is being hidden from you, which is the holy mountain of God, Mount Zion. So they have told us that there is no land at the North Pole, except all the early NASA satellite footage has these black holes at the center where something is being hidden. It's the Garden of Eden and the Mount Zion. This is an early map of the North Pole from the 1500s. You have a mountain here in the middle with a whirlpool, and then 4 rivers coming out of that whirlpool. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted and became into 4 heads. You have Mount Zion, and then under Mount Zion you have the Garden of Eden. You have the whirlpool, or the river, coming out from underneath there. And then that river breaks into 4 heads. In the center here, it's called the Rupes nigra, which translates to Black Rock, which is also the name of the largest investment company in the world. Coincidence? I think not. I also took a live windfinder shot of the North Pole where they say there's no land, but there's this massive diversion of wind here at the North Pole. It is Mount Zion. And how do I know the Garden of Eden is here too? Well, first, remember, we have the 4 rivers. Ezekiel 29, verse 13, Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of God. So Mercator, when he made this map, he actually sent it in a letter to John Dee in 1577. John Dee was an advisor to Queen Elizabeth, so this letter was literally sent to the Queen. This mountain was also depicted by many ancient cosmologists. It's not a coincidence that Paramount has it in their logo. Then what do you think this represents? It represents God's firmament with the stars inside the firmament. He made the stars also, and God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. Now, if you didn't know, on the flat earth map, the North Pole is literally at the very center, so this mountain is at the center of the flat earth. Just how it's depicted here. Now we're going to read this scripture from the book of Enoch, which was removed from the Bible. From thence I proceeded to the middle of the earth, and beheld a happy and fertile spot. So Enoch was in the middle of the earth. Then I saw a holy mountain. And underneath it water on the eastern side, which flowed towards the south. Guys, literally just pull up a live wind finder view and go to the North Pole, and you can clearly see there's something huge there. If you want to learn more about this, go download the True Earth book right now. It tells you all these hidden things about the flat earth. It also comes with access to our private Discord community. So wake up. They don't want you to know this stuff because it proves the existence of God, and it proves that His word is true. God bless you. I'll see you in the next one.
Nobody's gonna know.
They're gonna know.
How would they know? How would they know?
Jesus. One of 178 lands.
These of Antarctica do not exist as long as they are not seen. But you get through the frequency fence, a whole new world opens up. This past weekend, frequency fence went down, and almost all of Antarctica, mainly New Swabia, believe it, this is Antarctica. Grab your popcorn. Frequency fence down.
What is that creature on the back is my question. Is that just some type of spotlight on the rock, or is that literally some type of creature in the back? Obviously this is underground, but where?
I was about 6 years old when I went on my first official trip. I was going with my father and my grandpa Sinclair up to the North Pole. Up to the North Pole. It was a very glamorous destination, but the best scientific, military installation for a top secret mission. The existence of this high security Arctic base. The existence of this high security Arctic base. What was exactly that? We drove slowly through and past the buildings, all of them very gray, gloomy.
What was there at the North Pole? What he saw during the North Pole visit? Why it was a glamorous destination? Why there was a top secret military base? Let's go deeper. What is there at the center of the flat Earth? Rupes nigra et altissima, black and very high rock, and hidden for islands around the magnetic rock. Magnetic black rock at the center of the flat Earth. Does magnetic black rock affect winds at the center of flat Earth?
Sometimes you have to step back and back some more in order to see something so very big. The anomaly is just a case of perspective. To back up far enough enables you to see what they have been hiding from you and me. It is Rupes nigra, the black magnetic rock at the North Pole. They had to step back all the way to Antarctica to see it, from 165,000 feet in the air. mind-blowing. Sometimes, você
Are you guys aware that we have an inner Earth civilization that lives underground? Earth is actually hollowed out, and it's different beings that live inside the planet. Inner Earth is called Agartha, with the capital city being Shambhala. This is a real place, and these beings that stay there have a higher conscience than us and more spiritually advanced. The women inside of Agartha is 10 to 12 feet tall, and the men are even taller. These beings have the conscience of the 9th and the 12th dimension. Meanwhile, us up here on the surface are anywhere from the 3rd to the 5th dimension. And they are the ones who run the capital city of Shambhala. You would also have the Delros. These are really tall, heavy-set people, and they need an advanced wheelchair to get around. Their wheelchairs will levitate in the air and take them anywhere they need to go. These species of people also mixed their seeds with each other and made new species. We have portals and stargates underground, and they are protected by the Guardians. Some of these people inside the earth are survivors of the Atlantis flood. That is also known as Noah's flood in the Bible. And majority of these people use telepathy. They will send brain waves through your brain to communicate with you. So these beings rarely talk in the inner earth, and they will only let the righteous ones come down. Peace and Ashe. Hope y'all like the lecture.
Admiral Richard E. Byrd's diary, February, March 1947. The land beyond the poles. The exploration flight over the North Pole. The inner Earth. My secret diary. I must write this diary in secrecy and obscurity. It concerns my Arctic flight of the 19th day of February in the year of 1947. There comes a time when the rationality of men must fade into insignificance, and one must accept the inevitability of the truth. I am not at liberty to disclose the following documentation at this writing. Perhaps it shall never see the light of public scrutiny. But I must do my duty and record here for all to read one day. In a world of greed and exploitation of certain of mankind, one can no longer suppress that which is truth. Flight log, Base Camp Arctic. February 19th, 1947. 0600 hours. All preparations are complete for our flight northward, and we are airborne with full fuel tanks at 0610 hours. 0910 hours. Vast ice and snow below. 0915 hours. In the distance is what appears to be mountains. 1000 hours. We are crossing over the small mountain range and still proceeding northward as best as can be ascertained. Beyond the mountain range is what appears to be a valley with a small river or stream running through the center portion. There should be no green valley below. Something is definitely wrong and abnormal here. We should be over ice and snow. To the port side are great forests growing on the mountain slopes. Our navigation instruments are still spinning. The gyroscope is oscillating back and forth. 10:05 hours. I alter altitude to 1400 feet and execute a sharp left turn to better examine the valley below. It is green with either moss or a type of tight-knit grass. The light here seems different. I cannot see the sun anymore. We make another left turn and we spot what seems to be a large animal of some kind below us. It appears to be an elephant. No, it looks more like a mammoth. This is incredible, yet there it is. Decrease altitude to 1,000 feet and take binoculars to better examine the animal. It is confirmed. It is definitely a mammoth-like animal. Report this to base camp. 10:30 hours. The external temperature indicator reads 74 degrees Fahrenheit. Continuing on our heading now. Navigation instruments seem normal now. I am puzzled over their actions. Attempt to contact base camp. Radio is not functioning. 11:30 hours. Countryside below is more level and normal, if I may use that word. Ahead we spot what seems to be a city. This is impossible. Aircraft seems light and oddly buoyant. The controls refuse to respond. My God! Off our port and starboard wings are a strange type of aircraft. They are closing rapidly alongside. They are disc-shaped and have a radiant quality to them. They're close enough now to see the markings on them. It is a type of swastika. This is fantastic. Where are we? What has happened? I tug at the controls again. They will not respond. We are caught in an invisible vice grip of some type. 11:35 hours. Our radio crackles and a voice comes through in English, with what perhaps is a slight Nordic or Germanic accent. The message is, "Welcome, Admiral, to our domain. We shall land you in exactly 7 minutes. Relax, Admiral. You're in good hands." I note the engines of our plane have stopped running. The aircraft is under some strange control and is now turning itself. The controls are useless. 11:40 hours. Another radio message received. We begin the landing process now, and in moments the plane shudders slightly and begins a descent as though caught in some great unseen elevator. The downward motion is negligible, and we touch down with only a slight jolt. 11:45 hours. I am making a hasty last entry in the flight log. Several men are approaching on foot toward our aircraft. They are tall, with blonde hair. In the distance is a large shimmering city, pulsating with rainbow hues of color. I do not know what's going to happen now, but I see no signs of weapons on those approaching. I hear now a voice ordering me by name to open the cargo door. I comply. End log. From this point, I write all the following events here from memory.
Oh, we gotta go into part 2. This is getting juicy. Is he in Hollow Earth? Is this real?
It defies the imagination. It would seem all but madness. It defies the imagination. It would seem all but madness if it had not happened. The radio man and I are taken from the aircraft and we are received in a most cordial manner. We were then boarded on a small platform-like conveyance with no wheels. It moves us toward the glowing city with great swiftness. As we approach, the city seems to be made of a crystal material. Soon, we arrive at a large building that is a type I have never seen before. It appears to be right out of the design board of Frank Lloyd Wright, or perhaps more correctly, out of a Buck Rogers setting. We are given some type of warm beverage which tasted like nothing I have ever savored before. It is delicious. After about 10 minutes, 2 of our wondrous appearing hosts come to our quarters and announce that I am to accompany them. I have no choice but to comply. I leave my radio man behind, and we walk a short distance and enter into what seems to be an elevator. We descend downward for some moments, and the machine stops, and the door lifts silently upward. We then proceed down a long hallway that is lit by rose-colored light that seems to be emanating from the very walls themselves. One of the beings motions for us to stop before a great door. Over the door is an inscription that I cannot read. The great door slides noiselessly open, and I am beckoned to enter. One of my hosts speaks. "Have no fear, Admiral. You are to have an audience with the Master." I step inside, and my eyes adjust to the beautiful coloration that seems to be filling the room completely. Then I begin to see my surroundings. What greeted my eyes is the most beautiful sight of my entire existence. It is, in fact, too beautiful and wondrous to describe. It is exquisite and delicate. I do not think there exists a human term that can describe it in any detail with justice. My thoughts are interrupted in a cordial manner by a warm, rich voice of melodious quality. I bid you welcome to our domain, Admiral. I see a man with delicate features, and with the etching of years upon his face. He is seated at a long table. He motions me to sit down in one of the chairs. After I am seated, he places his fingertips together and smiles. He speaks softly again, and conveys the following. We have let you enter here because you are of noble character, and well known on the surface world. Surface world, I half gasp under my breath. Yes, the master replies with a smile. You are in the domain of the Ariani, the inner world of the earth. We shall not long delay your mission, and you will be safely escorted back to the surface and for a distance beyond. But now, Admiral, I shall tell you why you have been summoned here. Our interest right... It was at that alarming time we sent our flying machines, the Flugerods, to your surface world to investigate what your race had done. That is, of course, past history now, my dear Admiral, but I must continue on. You see, we have never interfered before in your race's wars and barbarity, but now we must, for you have learned to tamper with a certain power that is not for man, namely, that of atomic energy. Our emissaries have already delivered messages to the powers of your world, and yet they do not heed. Now you have been chosen to be witness here that our world does exist. You see, our culture and science is many thousands of years beyond your race, Admiral. I interrupted, but what does this have to do with me, sir? The Master's eyes seemed to penetrate deeply into my mind, and after studying me for a few moments, he replied, Your race has now reached the point of no return, for there are those among you who would destroy your very world, rather than relinquish their power as they know it. I nodded, and the Master continued. In 1945 and afterward, we tried to contact your race, but our efforts were met with hostility. Our Flugerods were fired upon, yes, even pursued with malice and animosity by your fighter planes. So, it defies the imagination.
It's getting good. I gotta find part 3. They firing on the Flugerods.
And the Master continued. In 1945 and afterward, we tried to contact your race, but our efforts were met with hostility. Our Flugerods were fired upon, yes, even pursued with malice and animosity by your fighter planes. So, now I say to you, my son, there is a great storm gathering in your world, a black fury that will not spend itself for many years. There will be no answer in your arms. There will be no safety in your science. It may rage on until every flower of your culture is trampled, and all human things are leveled in vast chaos. Your recent war was only a prelude of what is yet to come for your race. We here see it more clearly with each hour. Do you say I'm mistaken? No, I answer. It happened once before. The Dark Ages came and they lasted for more than 500 years. Yes, my son, replied the Master. The Dark Ages that will come now for your race will cover the earth like a pall. But I believe that some of your race will live through the storm. Beyond that, I cannot say. We see at a great distance a new world stirring from the ruins of your race, seeking its lost and legendary treasures. And they will be here, my son, safe in our keeping. When that time arrives, we shall come forward again to help revive your culture and your race. Perhaps by then, you will have learned the futility of war and its strife. And after that time, certain of your culture and science will be returned for your race to begin anew. You, my son, are to return to the surface world with this message. With these closing words, our meeting seemed at an end. I stood for a moment as in a dream, but yet I knew this was reality, and for some strange reason I bowed slightly, either out of respect or humility. I do not know which. Suddenly I was again aware that the two beautiful hosts who had brought me here were again at my side. This way, Admiral, motioned one. I turned once more before leaving and looked back toward the Master. A gentle smile was etched on his delicate and ancient face. Farewell, my son, he spoke. Then he gestured with a lovely, slender hand motion of peace, and our meeting was truly ended. And the Master continued. In 1945 and afterward,
The Secret Diary of Admiral Byrd.
If you think there is nothing at the North Pole, you have been deceived. This is a real map of the North Pole. When we look into today's world map, you'll see that there's nothing at the North Pole. I did some research on Google whether there is or nothing over there, and yet they are lying. Let's go into the book of Enoch that was removed from the Bible. Enoch 26:1-2, and from there I went to the middle of the earth and saw a blessed, well-watered place, which had branches which remained alive and sprouted from a tree which had been cut down. And there I saw a holy mountain, and under the mountain, to the east of it, there was water, and it flowed towards the south. So Enoch went to the center of the earth and what we called the North Pole. It also explains where the tree of life used to be located. Jubilees 8:19, and he knew that the Garden of Eden is the Holy of Holies, and the dwelling of the Lord, and Mount Sinai the center of the desert, and Mount Zion, the center of the navel of the earth. These three were created as holy places, facing each other. This is a wind finder at the North Pole. You can see as it appears something huge. I also did some research that the North Pole is Rupes nigra.
The Rupes nigra was believed to be a huge magnetic rock, 180 kilometers in diameter, which explained why compasses pointed north. The origin of this belief was 14th century Phoenician friar who claimed to be explored to the North Atlantic.
Mount Zion is probably located at the North Pole. If you think there is nothing at the North Pole,
Enoch been in the center though? Man, that's gonna take some processing.
Footage seen from a Russian military plane. This is what the portal to you makes sense. Footage seen from a Russian military plane. This is what the North Pole looks like. A huge vortex. Now, everyone knows that the North Pole is a magnetic pole. So how does this apply to flat Earth? If the North Pole is the center of the map, the center of the magnetic pole, where the aurora borealis is known to be seen. In fact, the colors of the aurora borealis are formed due to the electron field that changes the color of the hosts in the atmosphere. That's how strong the Earth's North Pole is. As in this small example. So, doesn't that vortex seen from planes look like a portal to you? The same shape as the aurora borealis. And the sun and moon fulfill the role of the magnetic ball in the prototype. Everything makes sense. As you can see, it's like a huge round magnet with a hole in the middle. The South Pole, that is, Antarctica, or rather the ice wall. Footage seen from a Russian military plane.
The North Pole is not what you may think.
To my video, land in the Arctic Circle, point north, and more powerful during the pandemic help.
Nigra as a lodestone mountain with such overwhelming force into it, so Nigra as a lodestone mountain with such overwhelming magnetic draw that it pulled the nails right out of explorers' boats. The four directional rivers connected to the central whirlpool emptying into it, surrounding this mountain, are described as the navel of the earth. Nigra as a lodestone mountain with such overwhelming
Nobody.
Rupes nigra, or the Black Rock, is a magnetic black mountain in the center of the Earth, beginning of time by 4. Rupes nigra, or the Black Rock, is a magnetic black mountain in the center of the Earth that has been deliberately hidden for centuries. It is the tallest mountain ever known to man. According to Gerardus Mercator, it has roughly 64 kilometers in circumference, and its height is approximately 13 to 18 kilometers above sea level, and it might even higher if it measured from the bottom, which we never know for sure. How deep this mountain goes to the ground, maybe dozens or even hundreds of kilometers deep, we never know. It is so tall and also huge that can attract all compasses to the far south 4,000s of kilometers away. Compasses will not attract to a magnet. If the magnet is buried deep under the ground, it has to be a mountain to attract all compasses, and that is the Rupes nigra. As far as we know from mainstream narratives, the magnetic field in the North Pole is somehow buried deep inside the Earth. This is totally absurd, because a magnet will lose its electrical power if it's exposed to heat, like in the Earth's core. So, what does the Rupes nigra has to do with tides? This magnetic mountain is surrounded by 4 continents, where there are 4 streams of rivers flow from the center. That flows of water goes outward during high tides, and goes inward during low tides. And it's always been like that since the beginning of time. And what's causing the water goes inward and outward? There is a magnetic vortex that's caused by the circling motion of the sun, the moon and other celestial bodies in the heaven, powered by the ether, and performs such harmony in our realm. For your information, the modern science doesn't know in what depths the magnetic field is, because they never include it in their imaginary layers of Earth. Can you believe it? For centuries, they really don't know where's the Earth magnetic field came from, or where's the exact location of it. Rupes nigra, or the Black Rock.
They got me curious now.
Don't scroll past this. In the midst of the 4 countries is a whirlpool, into which there empty these 4 enduring seas, which divide the north, and the water rushes round and descends into the earth, just as if one were pouring it through a filter funnel. It is 4 degrees wide on every side of the pole, that is to say 8 degrees altogether, except that right under the pole there lies a bare rock in the midst of the sea. Its circumference is almost 33 French miles, and it is all of magnetic stone, and is as high as the clouds. So priest Jacobus Coyen said, who had received the astrolabe from this Minorite in exchange for a testament. And the Minorite himself had heard that one can see all round it from the sea, and that it is black and glistening. Like and subscribe for more content like this.
Then tell me, why is it almost all of these random blocks of snow have placed? Then tell me, why is it almost all of these random blocks of snow have places to walk in? There's a hole here on this one, and I can show you dozens more. Here as well. Almost every single one has something that looks like a door on the side of it. Some way in, some way out. And very strange things around it as well. Things that almost look like different types of craft. Here's another one. Why would snowdrifts just randomly create openings into them that a man could walk through? Here's another one. Here's another one. And you go through each one of these blocks, and literally every single one of them has a door. Now, I've seen snow and ice act in very strange ways in very cold weather. And yeah, can it make these kind of I don't know what the word you would use for, kind of, jagged structures? It sure can. But with paths and doors and walkways on literally every single one of them? See, this is the more mundane, not so exciting evidence of life. I mean, there's very few here that I can't show a doorway into, some way to navigate in and out of. And as you pan out, it starts to make sense. I can show you 6 just in this picture.
It looks like a damn colony when he zoomed out.
One here, one here, one here, one here, one here, another one here, maybe more. This looks like straight up a neighborhood, just covered nice in snow. You know, that they don't make themselves part of our society, well, can't really blame them.
That's all we got for today's episode. If you made it this far, the code word is Hollow Earth. Drop Hollow Earth in the comments below so I know you made it through the whole video and you're a real one. I appreciate you guys, and I'm going to see you tomorrow on the next episode. Peace out.